Everyone, we'll be starting shortly. Before we start, could I please request all our attendees to have their microphones on mute and your cameras turned off, please? We can hear quite a bit of background noise going on, so we just need to ensure that everybody is on mute. Thank you. A very warm welcome to our colleagues from all over the world. Thank you for joining us today for our pilot webinar in the Stay Connected 20 series to support our global learning community. We've been overwhelmed with the initial response to our webinar series. This particular webinar reached capacity within 2 days of being launched. So once again, thank you very much for joining us today. And we hope that you will find what we discuss here useful and feel a sense of unitedness with colleagues from all over the world who have demonstrated great resilience, innovation, and tenacity during such an unprecedented. A couple of quick reminders for everybody just before we start. Please ensure that your microphone is on mute and your camera is switched off. Please type any questions you may have during the webinar into the chat box directly to the host, as you can see on the screen. And my colleagues will collate these questions at the end of the presentation from our panel of schools. Could you also kindly specify which school your question is addressed to, or if it's just a general question, we will do our best to get through all the questions at the end. For those of you who are just joining us, we've just mentioned if you could please keep your cameras off and your microphones on mute, that would be really helpful. Thank you. So today, thank you to all the schools who have so generously given up their time to prepare their PowerPoint presentations to share their knowledge and methods through which they have adapted the Ieyc units to be delivered for remote learning. We hope this session will prove to be beneficial for all attendees and start a dialogue between schools to share practice across the world. We have a wide range of schools on our panel today, from the Middle East, India, Europe, Asia, and South America. Here we have selected just a few examples of our worldwide Ieyc community sharing their commitment to improving learning on the My Fieldwork Ieyc pinboard. I regularly take a peek at the pinboard to build a deeper understanding of how the Ieyc is being implemented, and I have to admit, I quite directly approached a lot of our panel schools to participate in this webinar via the pinboard. It is wonderful to see the conversations taking place across schools from different parts of the world and the appreciation and the encouragement of colleagues. The first school we'll be hearing from is Apple Green Private School in Oman. We have Alpa, who is also part of the Ieyc steering committee, speaking on behalf of Apple Green. Alpa, if you could kindly introduce yourself to our audience. Just a quick reminder as well for everybody, we can still hear quite a bit of background noise, so please ensure that your microphones are on mute. Thank you, Alpa.
Thank you, Sneha. Hello, everyone. I'm Alpa Tobrani, and on behalf of Apple Green and Oman, I would like to extend warm greetings to each and everyone. I'm so glad that we all could connect as educators through remote teaching and learning during these unprecedented times. So in Apple Green, we are digitally sending lessons home And with early years, there has to be a personal touch. So we decided to send PowerPoint lessons through the platform of Moodle. Here is an example of a lesson which we have sent as part of the Ieyc. Okay, the unit is perfect as it's once upon a time. It tingles the child's imagination and it helps children to connect to the characters. Mostly, stories enable us to survive and thrive, to adapt to the complex scenarios that we face in life. We try to put a voiceover in each and every slide that we have. Let's see if we have a voiceover in this one, Sneha. Do we?
We have one in the next slide, Alpa.
Okay, so let's go on to the next slide, please. Right, so here is a voiceover. And before we start the voiceover, I would just like to mention that just like how we conduct a lesson in the classroom, we do it in the PowerPoint as well. Children love to know what is in store for the lesson. So we always give an overview of what would be happening in the PowerPoint slide. So we can listen to the voice through, please. Hello? Okay, no problem. And then over here we have a link to the story, which is, it's always good to add links to the YouTube links, which you would be finding on YouTube about the story so that the children can just click on the link and listen to the story. We have a separate vocabulary video on the LMS, which will be telling more about the story and the characters and help children to learn about the characters by using the vocabulary which is used in the story. Okay, we can go on to the next slide, please. This is all about resilience. The Ieyc goal of resilience is the focus of this lesson. Can we listen to the voiceover over here? Let's see if that one works. Yeah. I guess there's a glitch. We can't listen. Not an issue. Anyways, that was all about resilience. And we were trying to tell the children about what resilience is, how to pronounce the word resilience, and explaining them some scenarios which they may come across in their lives in which they have to show resilience. For example, the scenario which we are facing now of the coronavirus. Over here in this slide, they will be seeing a real tortoise in action and a real hare in action. And they will have to decide who is faster. Well, obviously, we know that the rabbit is faster, but the tortoise, because of his resilience, won the race. You can go to the next slide, please. And of course, the children love to see you. Always try to add yourself in the PowerPoint. They want to see the teacher. They miss the teacher very much. You're the mother of the class. And during these times, we can't meet our children. So we add this activity. Yeah. So that is about it from me. And I'm sure that you all would get some great pointers from this lesson. Thank you all for listening to me so patiently.
Thank you very much for sharing, Alpha. Apologies about the sound clips, everybody. It wasn't optimized for sound, unfortunately. So, but the recording will be available for you on YouTube for everybody who's requesting to record this in the chat. Our next presenter is Nadine from Al Raneem Private School in Oman. Just a quick reminder again, please keep your microphones on mute if you haven't already done so. That would be really helpful. Thank you. Nadine, if you could kindly introduce yourself to our audience.
Good morning. On behalf of RPS, thank you for Fieldwork for giving me the opportunity to join this wide learning community, and I thank all the attendees who took the time to join us today. Today I'm going to set an example on how we're running the virtual learning in Arani Private School. At the beginning, I will start with the KG1, and I chose the toy shop theme to set an example of how we're running the virtual learning. Next page, please. All right, so in here, the theme is for KG1 is toy shop theme. We use the same resources as well as the same materials that the teacher might use in her class. We shared the Google Drive with our parents on the school's portal. So when the parents click on the Google Drive shared with them, they'll be able to see the math lesson for the day. They will be able to see the phonics, the Ieyc theme, the related songs, as well as a video of their class teacher, a morning video. I've written here that I've shared with the parents letters of instructions to show them how to run the activities, flashcards, morning songs, stories to support the theme as a listening and reading activity, as well as worksheets. By the end of every session, the students are asked to send us their activities on and share them to the teacher's email. Next, please. Next page. All right. To support their learning journey, the KG teacher as well played part in that. We've done an on library session. So the class teacher, after sending a morning message, the library teacher supports her with so many themes. And this here we can see that the library teacher is supporting the Ieyc theme.
Sorry, Nadine, just to interrupt you. We can still hear that people have their microphones on, they haven't been muted. So if you could kindly mute them for us, that would be really helpful. Thank you. Nadine, if you'd like to continue.
All right, I have given another two examples over here on Toy Shop theme. You will see how the phonics worksheets have been shared with our parents, how the morning video from our teachers have been shared, how the library as well was shared. The parents will be able only to log in through their Google Drive in order to receive all these supporting documents. And the theme would run over the 4 weeks as we're doing it in class. Next, please. This is an example for the KG2. Now, the KG2, we have separated the folders along with the letters of instructions. So you will see here 4 folders. One is for the library, one for the math, phonics, and science. So on April 5th, this one was shared with our parents, and it was for the weather theme. Next, please. So there are 2 examples on how we shared a science material related to Ieyc theme, the weather. So the teachers might share videos, crafts, related vocabulary words, or a story. And once the kids complete the crafts, they're asked to share with us in order for us to keep a track of their progress. Next, please. I've shared with you 2 examples on math lessons. So example 1, they were doing here addition and subtraction. We supported them with video. We supported them with an activity, as well as we supported them with a practice worksheet. The second example, also, we followed the same routine. We supported them with counting numbers, another worksheet just to emphasize on the skill that they are working on. Next, please. Here's an example of a phonics lesson. So in the phonics lesson, the teachers shared the videos to show how do we spell and pronounce the phonics of the day. And we share them as well, practice worksheets and certain activities. These activities actually are engaging activities. So most of the videos that have been shared with the students, it keeps the students engaged with the lesson. Next, please. In the library session to support the Ieyc themes, our library teacher has matched so many stories from the Oxford Owl into our Ieyc themes to give students more reading practice while sitting at home. So she used to read aloud the stories, and she used to attach them for the parents as well, so that the parents could read the stories to their little ones. Next, please. I have shared with you so many examples as well here, shared by our KG2 teachers. These are examples of a morning message. Is it possible to play one?
Apologies, Nadine, we won't be able to play the videos just due to bandwidth restrictions, but these links will be made available in the follow-up to the webinar.
All right, so once you've received the PowerPoint, you will be able to play all the videos that I've shared with you. Next, please. I've also supported you with complete library sessions to know how we are running our library sessions. I hope these links are helpful and could provide you with extra support on how to run the early year stage virtual learning.
Okay, thank you very much, Nadine.
Thank you.
I see that there is still a few people that are not on mute. If you could please kindly mute your microphones so there's no background noise. We have Susan from Nehru World School in India presenting for us. Susan, if you could kindly introduce yourself to our audience.
Thank you, Sneha. I'm Susan, the head teacher at Nehru World School in Ghaziabad, a satellite city of Delhi. I've been there since January 2018 as head teacher. And I'd like to take this opportunity to say what a pleasure it is to be here and to connect with educators throughout the world. Moving on to the next slide, and the next slide. Just a little bit of background information. Our school was first established in 1978, and the Early Years Centre opened first in 2007, and it's for the last year that we've been using the Ieyc. And interestingly, our academic year started for early years on the 1st of April. So moving to the next slide, some quite important things here as to how we're running the early years program. It's a combination of synchronous, asynchronous and offline learning. And we're using the Google Suite and in particular Google Meet for the classroom meetings with the children. And Google Classroom is the place where everything is posted after the lesson, or in some cases before the lesson, so that the children have the opportunity with their parents to access all the learning resources that have been used. So we have about a 75-minute session per day with the teachers, including both physical as well as brain breaks, which take place using activities from Little Movers Make Giant Strides and from Mindful Play. These are integrated throughout the day's sessions. Now, the third bullet point there says repeated sessions with 3 groups. Now, our normal class size for nursery and KG is 30 students. And for online learning, that's clearly too many. So we've broken them into 3 groups of 8 to 10 students, which really has helped us in engaging the students and motivating the students and personalizing the learning much better for them within this context through a holistic approach to learning and development. Personal goals, others have said too, are integrated throughout what we're doing. Reference has already been made to resilience and adaptability. And I think it's also perhaps important to include here opportunities for to build up respect and empathy with the children through the situation that we all find ourselves in, for them to come to some understanding of why they're staying at home and how this is helping everybody. Tapestry, we introduced last year as well as our online learning journal, and it's a unique opportunity for the parents to actually present the learning, celebrate the learning experiences, the development and progress, and share with the teachers, because the children are at home, of course, the whole of the time, and it's serving as a further opportunity to strengthen the learning link with the home and the school. Moving to our next slide, I'm going to spend the next few minutes talking about little bit about the two units that we're using with nursery, Weather Wonders, and there you can see an example of a weather diary. So what we found that this unit has really been an opportunity for us to do is to build dialogue with the children around observation. So the children can actually get up and move and go and look outside, look and see what the weather's like, and then come back in and engage in a dialogue with the teacher and with their peer group. So lots of opportunities for questions around what's the weather doing today, what do we predict it will be tomorrow, and so on. It may be appropriate to introduce key vocabulary linked to the weather and maybe display the keywords and all of that. That can be very helpful. So the children and each class are keeping a simple weekly diary. This was a couple of weeks ago now, but you can see this is the record for Nursery Purple. And this too can become a basis for further dialogue and, for example, support counting activities. How many days sunshine did we have? How much rain? And so on and so forth. What we also work very hard to do is to integrate the weather-linked fiction books and some music as part of the online daily routine for the children. And then both the read aloud text, as I've already indicated, and the songs are uploaded for the children to listen to subsequently if they would like to. And how seamlessly this conversation then can flow into something about day and night, seeing the sun by day and the moon and stars by night. And that takes us quite nicely to the next slide, where we've continued to encourage first-hand learning experiences and regular observations, beginning to build up some links to daily routine. So times that the children are making regular observations at times that they're familiar with as particular parts of their daily routine take place. So when they get up, when they come to school, when they may eat, and so on. And again, this can lead well to a dialogue about morning and evening routines. And these little pictures at the bottom each colour has a card behind, which may provide a stimulus to build this discussion. So if we have a look at the one behind the light green, Sneha, if you can just move the light green, I think that should, this little light green box at the bottom should move. If not, don't worry. Anyway, there's a picture behind it which supports the dialogue. Is this part of our morning routine, part of our night routine, and then can be moved into an appropriate place. So that's the role of the cards there. Moving on, we can move to the next slide. Now, this is part of Imagine That, and this is the conclusion of the first part of learning that the children did in the style of Jackson Pollock. These are some examples of their collaborative work using techniques that had been shared with them from the Explore activities. We're finding that the unit Imagine That is really exciting, allowing lots of collaboration, especially in the family setting at home. As we all know, parents are used to being involved in entry and exit points, and this further involvement in additional activities also supports in focusing on the socio-emotional well-being of our children, where the children with their parents can actually create and present work together, or other siblings. Now, let me just share very briefly the steps that we've taken to get to this point. So we started off with our mystery gallery, focusing around some artwork of Jackson Pollock, which was to enable us to go back to that visual learning journey and review images over time. It also provides a very good opportunity for us to discuss, compare and contrast work as we work on capturing their curiosity and enabling the environment. And of course, there's lots of opportunities from the gallery to look at particular aspects, to ask particular questions around colour. What can they see in the artwork? What do the children think about it? The different shapes they might see. How does the artwork make them feel? And so on. After we shared the gallery with them, the teachers then demonstrated a range of techniques in the style of Jackson Pollock as a means of allowing the children to explore some of the techniques. And once again, it was really important to upload this part of the lesson in case the parents and children wanted to revisit again in their own time. So those of us familiar with the Ieyc in this unit will know the different techniques that are mentioned there about string it out, diluting paint with water and spraying, for example, putting paint into squeezable bottles and showing how it runs and merges and all of that. And so here we come to the work that the children created collaboratively with their parents. It's a beautiful example to engage in another dialogue with them. And in the small groups, it's a really good opportunity for that as to what they can share about their artwork. Their responses to it. Did they find it easy or difficult? What have they learned from making this artwork? And then the final part of my presentation, if we move to the next slide, please, is a little bit of an example of how we worked with the Rangoli theme. So here's some more pictures from our gallery and an opportunity to talk once again with the children about colour, about shape, about patterns, how the Rangoli patterns had been made. Of course, build a little bit of knowledge. Talking about it as an Indian tradition is really, really important. We also gave children the opportunity to look at images of flowers and butterflies to explore this idea of further of pattern and symmetry. And in the same way as the children then created their artworks in the style of Jackson Pollock, so here the children had the opportunity to use whatever materials they had available to them at home to create the Rangoli patterns, which we see on the next slide. So mostly, if we could move on, please, to the next slide. So mostly this was an example as where the parents had created a sort of template and the children here chose crayon to colour. Some we know were done individually and some were done with siblings. Once again, read aloud and music also integrated seamlessly into these sessions to further enhance knowledge and understanding and develop language and creativity. That's just a small flavour of what we're doing at NWS, and thank you for listening to me.
Thank you very much, Susan. Our next presenter is Olga from Da Vinci International School in Belgium. Olga, if you could kindly introduce yourself to our audience.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, or what, depending on where you are around the world. My name is Olga Velez. I was born in the USA and I was raised in Puerto Rico as my family was from there. I'm very thankful that I had the chance to study in different types of schools during that time of my childhood, because it gave me that moving experience, which lots of our children have when they go to international schools. And also the fact that I was able to work in other countries like the US, Puerto Rico, and Peru, and now in Belgium, where I'm married to a Belgian. I speak English, Spanish, and Dutch. And yes, right now in our school, I'm really thankful for the fact that the administration team, the senior leadership team, have been very caring for everyone, for all the community, for the parents, for the students, and also for the staff. And we keep on every day with our staff meetings in the mornings before the start of the day. Like today, we have staff meetings as our corresponding teams like primary, early years, and so on. So it gives emotional support, which is something that we have sensed is a very big aspect during this lockdown situation. You can pass to the next slide, please. Hello? Yes, thanks. So throughout this time of the lockdown situations that we have in our homes, in our countries, I have had to, I've been reflecting in my practice and modifying how I've done our lessons. First, when the first 3 weeks that we were in lockdown, it was the 16th of March. It was a transition between blast off, which was great, a great unit. The children had a lot of fun and learned a lot. Then we were doing, when we went to lockdown, I said, okay, I have to change what I originally had. And I put it, be imaginative, to put your imagination. And it gave time for them to settle in at home and things. It was a transition time. Then we had springtime because it's spring week. And later on Easter, before we went on Easter break. Well, now in the 20th of April, we started again, and our new unit has been going places, journeys. If you see here on the left side, we use Google Classroom for our main ways of communication with the parents from the SLT team, and as well as with us. We put our daily lessons there with links. If you see on the right side, that was the first day. So I had the circle time every day. I make a video in the morning where we do our calendar routine. They just love it. With the numbers, we use Numicons, what's yesterday, tomorrow, any news, birthdays that are coming, special events. So it's a way of keeping that visual contact with each other. It's only once a week we do Google Meeting, and there we do in 2 small groups, and they can talk with us, with me, and I talk with them, and we see each other, and the parents are present as well. Only the circle time, then it's a pre-recorded, which I use with Loom. For the rest of the activities, I try my best to, which is a change here. At the beginning, it was more like you can do this and that, and given certain things, but lots of times there was still, the parents had to still be very involved. And what we discovered was, through all this situation, and especially with my class, lots of my parents, both mom and dad, have to work. So they have to work from home. And it was very difficult and challenging for them to be able to do their work, respond to their employees, to their companies, and also at the same time sit with a child nearby. Sometimes they didn't have everyone a device, so they had to share, or if they had siblings, they had a conflict of hours. So it's been a reflective time of being able to listen very carefully to the parents' needs, see how we can adapt, being very flexible, and a very good communication. So that has been vital during this process. At the beginning, if you see here on the left, I used to use a timeline, and I would explain what was in the morning, in the afternoon, so they could transition. And for the children could feel, oh, okay, I'm in school, and the parents were very happy because they could understand how was the school routine. But then later on, we said, okay, if parents need that flexibility of being able to do the activities whenever they can, when they have a free moment, and or in the weekend, then we just have to put the activities and tell them it's okay. We are with you. We understand you. Just take it on your own pace. We understand, and it's going much better. So it's really nice, the feedback that we have received from the parents. We also keep with our Dutch, and we have Dutch on Mondays, French on Tuesdays, and normally gym on Fridays. But Mr. Igor gives a daily video with gym activities and exercises, so it's very stimulating and active. If you see on the bottom of this slide, there's an entry point that I made. I'm teaching at home, so we cannot teach from school. And I made a video, and later on you can see that. It's a bit funny, but the children enjoyed it a lot, and it was a good start. Please, can we go to the next? Oh, yes, on the right side is what comes on the Google Classroom. And here's a summary of what I have, on the right side. The left side it's my fault. The left side was the introductory of what would be said to the parents, and then the plan itself on the right. Here I've said basically what is here in summary, so I don't want to take much of your time. We can go to the next. Oh yes, on the bottom. On the bottom you will see the different resources, additional resources that we are using for the lessons, mainly Google Classroom, in Hangouts meetings on Fridays. I use a lot Loom, and these days it's having some issues, but I use a lot Loom. I find it really, really good because then I can sit and explain the lessons and use the mouse to go around and show the children what it is, especially because right now, just when we started the lockdown, I received a new Japanese boy who has no English at all. So I've had to adapt a lot of the things. It's not the same, when we have a child with us and we're constantly speaking with them and using nonverbal body language. So Loom has been very helpful, and you will see some links at the end that you can use. In other moments, I use iMovie, and I upload it then to YouTube. Clip is an audio, a way to record yourself. So you can record on your phone, and then you can upload it to Clip, and you can add it to storybooks that you're doing online. Twinkle, I think many schools know about Twinkle. And here you can get some resources, but I try to not use worksheets as possible, because especially some parents don't have printers, or they cannot be sitting with the child. For some occasions I do it, but I try as much as possible things that children can do independently and very hands-on. And depends on the simple resources that they can find at home. And the last thing that we discovered, and it's so great, I really like it a lot, is Padlet. And the parents are uploading there pictures and videos of what the children are doing at home from the previous topics, mini topics, and the new one that we're doing now. So I really enjoy seeing what the reactions at home and what the parents feel. And from there we do how they were able to develop what they did, but what next steps and challenges can go after that. Later on, people can read the rest here. If you can pass, please, to the next page. Okay, here you can see some samples of what they have been doing at home when it was springtime and Easter egg. So they did some paper weaving, Easter hats, other crafts, and cards that they could send to their families and friends via the post or email. They were doing some handwriting activities using tactile things, kinesthetic things with Play-Doh, with glitter, drawing, whatever different resources they could use. A lot of imagination, using sand. They have been also using, during maths, if you see here on the bottom, those blocks, there was a video about classifying like shoes, different shoes. You could classify also cars right now. And if they didn't have those resources, they can use something else. So some children have been using like Dactylegos, or at home they tried, like one of the girls, she's very pinky if you see, and she used they used all the shoes they had at home to work on graphs. That was really nice and interesting as well. Then you can see with the boy loves to create. He has a great imagination, and he uses Dactylegos to create these very symmetrical, gorgeous presentations and creations. They had to do a number plate and decorate it as they wanted. So they could use the first three were the number 1 in Europe here, then the first 3 letters of their name and 3 chosen numbers that they wanted. So they could draw, they could, some showed interest in firefighters, special cars. This is a puzzle, the one that is the white airplane, that's a puzzle. I was amazed to see that. And it's open, and then he has to construct it and put it together as the airplane. So there's another girl, you see like a map on the floor, and like a U, upside down U. Well, the idea was that they had to create a cardboard and put numbers 1 to 20. And with the little cars that they had, or vehicles, they would have to put a number over it, and they would have to find and match the same one. And they could use that to also play with something else, but it was in a very playful way. So these are a couple of examples. I didn't put their faces because of GDPR and privacy. That's why you don't see their faces here. We can pass to the next page, please. Here later on, you will be able to see some samples of the lessons that I prepared. On the first one, you see a circle time activity. Then this was the phonics activity. So here you will see how I used Loom to integrate all those aspects that I told you, be it from the story, the song, handwriting, alpha blocks, star falls, things like that. Then for Mr. Grumpy's motor car, I also presented it with multiple videos and things, so they could especially understand the vocabulary in certain moments, particularly with a new boy who is starting to learn English. The math activity that has sent math with cars. Oh no, that was another one that I did, an experiment that they would try it at home. Then at the car wash, that was a video that my husband and I had done some time ago. And because it was a topic, you could use it. You can use it for your lessons if you ever want to. So that's okay. It's inside a car wash place. Toy car on different surfaces. Oh no, that's a different one. Okay. And at the end, a very simple sun art and writing, which is, oh, wait, I got distracted with a chat box. Sorry. There's sun art and writing was very, very simple, but it was based also on the story of Mr. Gumpy. And there the children had to do swirls to make suns. And so doing it with anti-clockwise movements, and they could write the word sun and things like that. And I had some feedback. So it's been really, really nice to see the children's feedback around this. If you have any questions later on, I will be happy to answer. I hope you enjoyed and that I didn't speak too fast. Well, have a nice day, everyone.
Thank you very much for sharing, Olga. Next, we have several presenters from Panaga School in Brunei. Could I kindly ask all the presenters from Panaga to introduce themselves, starting with Sheila? I think presenters from Panaga School, if you could unmute your microphones. Okay.
Hello, apologies. Me? Hi, my name is Louise Ramsden and I'm from Panaga Nursery. I'm the year group leader. Thank you.
Sheila, apologies. Shall I go back to your slide? Okay, well, we'll move on to Rachel.
Hi, I'm Rachel Mackay. I also work at Panaga School in nursery with Louise. I've been there for 5 years and we've been implementing the Ieyc for 2 years. Thank you.
Thank you. And Amy?
Hi, I'm Amy Walters and I will be talking to you about how we've implemented it in P1. I'm a P1 teacher. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Amy. I'll move on to the presentation now. Please let me know when you'd like me to change the slides.
Sheila was due to be talking first, but I'm not sure if she's got sound. So I don't know if you want to skip straight onto nursery and we'll come back to Sheila if her sound starts working.
Sure, no problem.
Next slide. Next slide. Okay. Hello, we're just going to talk about how we are delivering Ieyc in nursery at Panaga School. So in nursery, we use Padlet to deliver our virtual learning. Each day's activities are in separate columns and include a morning message and a challenge, and songs, and learning support assistance, a physical challenge, and a further LSA activity. The whole week, choose according to what their child is interested in. The morning message welcomes the children to the day. We talk about activities from the previous day and ask how they are. And then we introduce the children to a new challenge and refer to the weekly personal quality. We also provide extra support through further activities, websites and articles to support the parents in child development, as well as health and wellbeing sections to aid mindfulness. Extra support's also given by our additional needs teacher for specific children. We keep in mind the unit we would be teaching if we were in school. We create opportunities using our knowledge of where the children were in the learning when we saw them. We continue to consider the children's interests and skills that they need to develop. We include activities that we know excite the children, for example, the message centre, sound and number games, and treasure hunts. We take into account the feedback from parents on Tapestry and note new interests to inform our planning. Next slide.
To develop independence and interdependence, we encourage games that promote collaboration and problem solving with siblings or other family members. We can see that the children are developing in this area through their Tapestry posts. We encourage children to play independently and imaginatively. We include articles about independent play on the Padlet to support parents, especially for those parents who only have one child. To address the inquiry strand, our activities aim to get the children out into the outdoor environments as much as possible, so their garden or the beach. Many of our maths activities involve finding objects in the garden to put in size order or to collect and count. New knowledge and skills are introduced by way of vocabulary, such as camouflage, and stories, for example, making a stick man alongside the story. See, Think, Wonder is added twice weekly. Physical well-being is covered by daily activities such as dancing and games that require coordination, for example, obstacle courses, as well as activities that the children are familiar with from school, such as dough disco and squiggle wiggle. We aim to make these activities doable using resources that most families are likely to have at home. Healthy living is a regular feature, and we support parents by posting articles and ideas, including how to explain the coronavirus to young children. The communicating strand is covered through activities such as stories, nursery rhymes, songs, secret messages, mark making, number, and phonics. Next slide, please.
Our children are already familiar with the personal qualities, so we wanted to develop their understanding and keep them alive. We introduce one personal quality per week, and we refer to the personal qualities in Tapestry feedback. Our communication with the children aims to continue to develop knowledge, skills, and understanding by using the phrases I can, I know, I understand. The children demonstrate their KS&U through Tapestry feedback, and we then give suggestions to further develop them. Thank you, and over to Amy in P1.
Yep, so if we move to the next slide. As you can see, we also use the Padlet in P1. And in fact, the Padlet is used right up through milepost 1 and in much of milepost 2. And as you can see, the columns outline each day. The beauty of the Padlet is that it's allowed us to continue following some familiar routines for the children. So each day we do a welcome message, a wake up, shake up, and then end the day with songs and a story. Parents have expressed an ease of enjoying using the Padlet because everything is in one place, so they haven't got to open multiple windows. All the links are accessible from just one screen. And it also gives parents 100% control over when they are able to deliver the different activities. For every activity we do, we record a video, either by one of the teachers or the LSAs, so the children are seeing the faces of everyone they work with every day. If we have a look at the next slide. As you can see, we are following the unit Brilliant Bug Ball, which has been brilliant for giving opportunities for children to work both inside and outside. We were lucky enough to be able to do our entry point and knowledge harvest in school before we closed on the 10th of March. So we knew where the children's interests and stuff already lay. By using the mind map in the planning document as a starting point, we've been able to ensure that we incorporate all the 4 learning strands and a range of Phase A and Phase B activities. For each of the 4 blocks, we've incorporated activities such as craft, cooking, literacy, and numeracy, linking them to the theme of bugs as much as possible. For example, we have the children making a wormery, doing ladybird doubles, and outside looking for bugs in the garden. Our specialist subjects also feed directly into the Padlet, offering opportunities for DE, music, and PE at home as well. Each day, we offer a See, Think, Wonder or a knowledge, skills, and understanding activity, as these were started in school not long before lockdown, and we wanted to be able to continue developing those skills, so they can continue to develop critical thinking skills and have the chance to reflect on their previous knowledge and understanding. And the slide just gives you an overview of some of the activities that we've been doing. We move to the next slide now. We use Tapestry as a way to feedback what the children have been doing. So each time they complete a learning activity, their parents upload it for Tapestry for them. We've been incredibly fortunate to have really high levels of participation with our families, over 80% engaged each week. And this has been a very useful tool in assessing the kinds of activities that have been best received at home. Like Olga said earlier, it's really important to have that communication with the parents to find out how they're getting on. The biggest point I'd like, and myself and my team have found from this experience, is that the role of the teacher has really changed. So we're not necessarily teaching the children anymore, but we're facilitating for others to be able to teach them at home. And I think this is an interesting point because it means that sometimes we need to let go of some of our classroom ideologies because they haven't got the peers and people to work with to bounce ideas off of each other. So we've found from our responses that we get a higher participation level and a better response with activities that give us clear step-by-step guide to reach a particular outcome. And although this might not support some of our philosophies in school at such a difficult time when people are trying to find their own way as best they can, if this is what works for families, then we've been really happy with that. As teachers, we offer feedback on a daily basis to any activity uploaded, whether it's one that we've set or one they've just choose to do at home. And we link this as much as possible with the personal qualities. Parents also expressed that children were missing each other, so we tried to introduce a show and tell element so they could share videos of themselves when they're learning at home. And if we go to the final slide, this just outlines some of the other resources that we've been using. Many have been mentioned already. It just gives an overview of other things that parents can access for support in health and well-being, favourite songs, and additional curriculum supports. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. We're just going to try and see if Sheila, if we can hear her again. Sheila, if you could try unmuting yourself, hopefully we can go back to your slides.
Can you hear me?
Yes, welcome. We can hear you. So what I'll do is I'll just go back to the slides that you were going to present. Is it the very first ones?
Thank you. Hello, everyone. On the 16th of March, it was Panaga's start of their online learning. And the parents of pre-nursery children, so these children are 2 and 3 years old, accessed the school's website and used the pupil portal link. This is our usual online place where we post weekly curriculum information. Here, we post the following for the online learning: hello song, washing hands song, stories read by the teachers and the LSAs. We also provide a weekly grid of possible learning activities for the children to select from that are related to our Ieyc unit. And the unit we're studying at the moment is Going Places. These activities are in the form of videos, which we have made with additional web links. Next slide, please. So this is the grid, and we look for a balance of Ieyc strands, so communication, independence and interdependence, inquiry, and physical health and well-being. We've just started this unit Going Places when we were homeschooling, and we started off by taking a magic carpet ride to space, and then we've gone to different lands as the weeks have gone on. Between all the staff working remotely, so this is the learning support assistants and the year leader, and I'm the class teacher, we upload ideas to a shared Google document. And then we sign up as to which ones we'll be responsible for. We save all our videos to a Google Drive by the Thursday of that week. Then the year leader makes a grid, making sure there is a balance of strands and knowledge, skills, and understanding. If there's too much for one grid, she'll carry the ideas to the following week. And this new activity grid is posted on the pupil portal, and it goes live on a Monday morning, and the pre-nursery children have the week to dip into it. The team of pre-nursery teachers and LSAs meet via Zoom regularly to discuss activities that could go on the grid as well. Next slide, please. Tapestry is our online journal, and this is used for two-way communication. So parents post what the children have learned, and staff post messages and individual feedback. Individual feedback is given to all posts and refers to the development of their knowledge, their skills, and understanding. We add hello and how are you videos to support homeschool links and check in with our students in our class. And that's it from the pre-nursery Panaga, Brunei. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sheila, and thank you to everyone who is still with us. We're going to move through the presentation to our next presenter. So next, we'll be hearing from Charlotte from French International School in Hong Kong. Charlotte, if you could kindly introduce yourself to the audience.
Thank you. Hi everyone, I'm Charlotte Pfizer. I'm in the French International School in Hong Kong. I'm the Ieyc coordinator, and just to give a bit of background on what's been happening in Hong Kong is we haven't been at school now since the end of January, so our online learning has really gone on for a long time, and it's very unlikely now that early years will return before the end of the year. If you could go to the next slide, please. Thank you. And the next one. Thank you. So the process of what we as teachers have delivered has kind of been evolving, if I'm quite honest. And we have continued with our planned units of learning throughout that time. We don't use Padlet, but we use Google Slides, which are sent weekly. And each kind of lesson that we kind of do a teacher input, and then from each teacher input we would expect a child output, and they look very different. We use pre-recorded videos for their teacher input, a range of activities which the children can then do themselves at home, covering a range of the learning strands. And then in terms of how we respond to the children, we use Tapestry, so the children upload their individual work for us. Thank you. Next slide. So we as a team kind of reflected on what our home learning, what we wanted it to be. We came up with these important points. So it has to be purposeful. There has to be a purpose as to why the children are engaging in that activity. It definitely has to be personalised, and that is really important, especially being in early years at Ieyc, because children are at different stages in their development. Play-based where possible. The situation in Hong Kong has changed over the few months. Sometimes at some point we were told to stay at home quite a lot, and then the lockdown kind of lifted slightly and then has gone back, things like that. So it has to be play-based but where possible, and then also practical, taking into consideration that lots of parents are still working, children are with grandparents and things like that, and just ensure that those children are still continuing to make the progress they need. Thank you. Okay, so I'm just going to talk through how our process of learning looks like then in the different units of learning that we've covered. So we have done Once Upon a Time, Going Places, and Dinosaur Detectives. So in terms of our entry points, if you see here the picture of the man, that's our head of primary. He sent a short pre-recorded video, and then asking for all the teachers to collect different clues. And then all teachers, including our teaching assistants and our French language teacher, did a Google Meet. You can actually record the session, and we put it as an entry point saying, you know, what are all these clues, hooking the children into that learning. And then in terms of our dinosaur detectives, we made paper mache, eggs, put them in plants, took some pictures, you know, hooking the children into that learning, asking them what they think our unit of learning was going to be about. And then for our Once Upon a Time unit, for our entry point, there's a great app called FX Guru, and you can take a picture and add it onto that app, and then an animation can come to life. So in that one, we use gingerbread men, and that's our classroom. The gingerbread men were causing havoc in the classroom. So they were really our hooks for the units of learning. Thank you. Next one. So capturing curiosity, it's been quite challenging to do, especially initially. The ongoing process of it has been easier, but the initial capturing curiosity being slightly hard. So what we've tried to do is try to use a variety of things to get some more feedback, not just Tapestry, from the children about what they know and what they want to learn in this unit of learning, to make it more individualized for them. We've used Google surveys where the children can feedback. So we use that for Once Upon a Time. Children answer some questions. We ask them if they knew about some stories and what they would like to find out. What do they think this unit's going to be about? For our Going Place Capturing Curiosity, the children uploaded videos. They also wrote what they would like, where they would like to go, if they could go anywhere in line with the big picture. And for our dinosaur detectives, we use something called learning apps, and the children can complete a quick quiz, and from that we got some feedback of what we knew, what we could find out, what the children already knew, and then what they wanted to find out. But it's easier to do the ongoing process because of Tapestry. We encourage the children to upload a lot of videos whereby they ask questions, you know, what about this? What do you think about this? About different dinosaurs and things like that, which has been really lovely. Thank you. Next slide, thank you. So in the next stage in the learning process are Explore and Express and enabling the environment. So we like I explained, we've been doing a lot of teacher inputs. We also do offer live Google Meet sessions in smaller groups, and that's been really handy for you know, talking about the unit of learning and getting the children to really engage, and you know, scaffolding those questions to support those children. And then a lot of the activities, like I said before, it has to be practical, and we're very aware, you know, the living conditions in Hong Kong, most people live in apartments, things like that. So the activities the children have been engaging in have been a big range. You know, we've been doing writing uploads, all linked to the units of learning. Like I said, the capturing curiosity, where do you want to go next? That was writing inputs. Physical development videos. You know, our PE teacher does things like do video, pre-recorded videos. For example, for dinosaur detectives, moving like different dinosaurs, stretching out your long neck, going down low, crawling, things that can be done inside. Our teaching assistants do some pre-recorded videos as well, whereby they show different crafts that they've made, and the children can either recreate it themselves or put their own spin on it. We don't directly show them exactly step by step, but they can do like we would in the classroom. They can kind of adapt it how they would like. You know, we've done frozen dinosaur eggs, things like that. We also celebrate the children's learning and share that with the other children. So recently we were looking at money around the world. So some of our children are in different countries, so they showed different money, talked us through it, and then we were able to upload those videos then onto the slides. So really, yeah, the children will be engaging in a massive range of activities, and it's mainly focused on an input from us and then an output from those children. Thank you. Next slide. Thank you. And then finally, our exit point. We've only had 2 exit points so far, but we will be looking. For continuing till the end of the year, we'll be doing 2 more. And we've really reflected on that. That is a real celebration of the children's learning. I'm sure everyone, but our children have just been amazing in this whole process, you know, adapted, home and things like that. We really want to make sure we celebrate what they've done, and also, you know, really give them a time to show off. So for our Once Upon a Time exit point, that's when we were allowed on campus. So three of us got together, took our teddy bears, a book, and showed the children of us having a little picnic. And then the children were able to recreate that in their house, put out a small rug, bring their teddy bears, their favourite book. They uploaded videos of sharing their favourite books. We were then able to share that with all children on our Google Slides. So that was really fantastic. And then for our Dinosaur Detectives exit point, we asked the children to create whatever they wanted, whether it was a poster, booklet, maybe a piece of junk modelling that they'd done, just what they really felt that was their best work and what they were really proud of. And then we were able to share that in our Google Meet small sessions, which was really lovely. So all the children were able to listen, a bit like what we would do at school in a small circle group. Also for the exit points, we try to get a lot of our other members of staff involved as well, so that the children are used to seeing them. So our head of school read a story, another teacher had some pictures of a museum they'd been to, you know, quite a while ago before COVID-19 happened, and we were able to share that. We did small experiments that the children could watch. It's quite easy to do the volcano experiment, just need vinegar, baking soda, and you can do that at home. And we showed that, and then some children recreated that themselves. You know, we've done sing, float, things like that. So yeah, the children have been really amazing. We've had to adapt quite a lot our online learning over the process, but obviously adapt ourselves as teachers, yeah, and just try to build on everything. But yeah, thank you very much for listening, and if anyone's got any questions afterwards, please do not hesitate to ask.
Thank you very much, Charlotte. Our next presenter are Alia and Victor from Taylor's International School in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. Alia and Victor, if you could kindly introduce yourselves.
That's Alia, that's not me.
Hi, I'm Alia. I have been working for Taylor's International School for about 5 years now. I came in as a reception teacher, and I was promoted to the Ieyc. Currently, I am also the Ieyc.
Alia, if you could kindly move maybe closer to your mic, I think the sound is a little bit faint.
Okay, let's see me now.
Yes, much better. Thank you.
Okay. Yep, I'm working for Taylor's International School, Kuala Lumpur for about 5 years now. I started off as a reception classroom teacher, but and then promoted to Ieyc leader, and currently I am working as an associate trainer for Ieyc for Fieldwork Education London. Next slide, please.
I'm Victor. I'm the assistant head of primary at Taylor's. Now I'm in charge of Key Stage 1 and early years. I was asked by Miss Alia to present a viewpoint from a member of the school's SLT, as it does have some impact on how we are delivering the curriculum. So next slide, please. So basically on the Monday, we're in school as a normal day, about 80% attendance. Some children were being kept up by their parents. And then at the end of the day, the government decided schools would be closed. So on the Tuesday, we went in just to adapt our planning for what we thought was going to be a 2-week closure. And then on the Wednesday, all of the Ieyc staff went in to prepare our continuity of learning packs. So these packs included all the resources, materials that the students would need for the activities planned. We informed the parents and asked the parents to pick these packs up with the students' morning workbooks. And the workbooks is for literacy and numeracy activities. Now with Ieyc, it was decided we wouldn't follow a timetable to start with. So could I have next slide, please? The only thing we decided for Ieyc to start with was we'll have a timetable session for parents when they could contact the teacher to discuss any of the activities, any problems that occurred. Now, there are reasons by the management to do that. One of them is because for Ieyc, there's a lot of parental input. The parents need to be there for the children to assess the Google Sites, help with reading instructions, maybe preparing resources. Parents are home working from home, so they may not be able to follow the school timetable. So we gave them more independence, we gave them flexibility of when to be able to do the activities. We also have children, we have siblings, and for our other year groups, Key Stage 1, Key Stage 2 upwards, they've got fixed lessons where they're either in Google Classroom or they're having Google Meet, and they need to be online. So an Ieyc timetable would have to try to avoid clashing with any of the other lessons of the other year groups. And we also have some families don't have devices or a lot of devices. And we had one family with 3 siblings sharing one device. And therefore, they have to decide which lessons are important for children to attend because they had to share the device. Now, originally, we were meant to be in lockdown for 2 weeks. Now that's extended to 7 and it's going to continue for a while longer anyway. So because of that, we have assessed and revised our timetable. And we now have live phonics sessions from Monday to Thursday for the children. This is in their phonics group with their phonics teacher. And on a Friday, we provide a social session where the children in their classroom groups get a chance to chat with each other, show and tell, read a story, because it is important for them to have contact with each other and to also be part of the school. They're still a member of the school community. We've also introduced for individual families face-to-face sessions with the class teacher, and these are using Google Meet when the parents again can discuss with the teachers anything related to the activities. But we've also found the face-to-face sessions have been helpful for parents relating to other problems that might occur at home. We had one girl who didn't want to write. And so the class teacher spoke with the child and really just encouraged her. And the parent then said that the child starts to produce some work. So that was good. So we've used it as a social help session as well. Now I'll hand over to Miss Alia. Miss Alia will explain how we were planning Now we're sharing the Ieyc with the students. Thank you.
Okay, so basically, when we were planning for the Ieyc virtual learning, one of the thing that we were really considering and worried of is how do we do entry point or exit point virtually. So what we did as a team is that we consider have two things in mind as we are planning. First, we need to make sure that we stay true to the objective, the entry point, and number two, the plan is actually that is relevant to be done virtually. So like you can see on the site. Can you hear me now?
Yes, much better. Thank you.
All right. So as you can see, the slides here, this is one of the example of our recent My Toy Shop entry point. We make sure that it's engaging. And the second thing is that we need to make sure that it's relevant to be done virtually. So what we did during our My Toy Shop unit entry point is that we get each class teachers to actually pre-record themselves holding a box in their hands and have a toy in the box, and they will give out 4 clues for the children to guess what is the box inside it. And at the end of the week, they're going to answer. They're going to play some interactive game that is revealing all the toys that is in the box. The reason why we didn't do um, one off entry point, and the reason why we stretch it to a 5 days entry point is that we just try to help those children who might not be able to join on the first day, and they can join on the second, third, fourth, or on the fifth day. So that's one of the example that we did. And one of our way of doing pick curiosity to continue it even from afar is that before the school was closed, we noticed that all the children in our earliest has a craze over popsicle from Cuckoo Kangaroo. So what we did as a team, we get the teachers to record themselves singing and dancing to the same song, but it was later combined into a single video, which you can actually see um, when this slide is published to everybody. Next slide, please, Neha. So these are just some examples of the things that we have been using to support our virtual learning. So one of them is our Google site. It is actually for all the earliest parents, where they get to see all the timetable, any announcement, all sorts of the things that the parents would want to know. It will be posted up in the earliest Google site. So our learning grid, our morning greetings, all will be up there and available at any time of the day if the parents need to go. And the second thing that we're doing is we pre-record morning greetings by the teachers and the teaching assistants. The reason while we do this pre-recorded is that as much as we want to get very on the go or on the toes with the kids, we also try to consider the relevance of um, how the timing would work for the teachers, because the teachers have a lot of things to do. So pre-recorded morning greetings work efficiently for our part. And then and then for our, like Victor have mentioned, for the Phonics daily online learning, we do have them 30 minutes per day. And so far, the parents, we have a good feedback from the parents and also from the children actually. Because for Phonics would be the only time where we do online learning, because we don't want the children to be missing out too much on that. And then we have virtual social time, which is once a week. And I believe that the Panaga school is also using the bug club for the reception, in our case, for our reception children, where you get to go, is a website where you get to go and allocate storybooks for the children according to their ability, and then they get to read it through their devices at home. And the next thing is that we also use wordwall.net, Education City, and also some digital worksheet that you can do on Google Slides. We found that wordwall.net is very helpful and very user-friendly in terms of, you know how when you are looking for interactive games on the online, it just doesn't feel right or it doesn't fit into what you want. So wordwall.net allows you to cater and tailor-make your interactive games for your kids. And of course, we do send learning groups at home. We also include our Bahasa and also Mandarin teachers lesson in it. And something that we are really proud of is that we encourage our teachers to not use YouTube teaching. We do use them for the first 2 weeks, but after that, we really encourage our teachers to actually create their own videos to help the children to learn. Okay, thank you. Next slide, please. So here, as you can see, these are the evidence that we actually get from Tapestry. So when for our online learning journal, we're using Tapestry. Before we close the school, we actually be the one who posted a lot of things, the assessments, the observations of the children. But when we close the school, we actually reverse it, and we get the parents to be the one who posted they have been doing at home, and then we would the teachers would be the one who put a little tick on the learning goals of Ieyc. So it's really wonderful to see how the parents have been really involved with the um, learning. And as you can see in the picture here, one of the things that we have done is the one with the trolley here with the luggage is that we are actually learning about pull and push concept. So we were thinking of, okay, what is the thing that is easily found at home where we can actually use to teach push and pull concepts. So we decided to use languages for the kids, and it was really fun to see lots of inputs given by the parents as well. And for our school, we are trying to get away from using printed materials. But as you can see here, you can actually see that the parents has put an excellent effort to draw the snake and ladder on recyclable paper, and she actually posted up in the tapestry for the other parents to be used. Yeah, so these are all the things that we have found in tapestry, and we're just sharing it with you. So off to Mr. Victor.
We've just done a survey of the parents related to the quality and quantity of the work we're providing. And we had an 80% positive responses from the parents. So it's a difficult time, but I think we are doing as best as we can, like every other school, and the parents at home are trying their best as well. So it's good to know from the parents that we are going in the right direction and they're positive and they're happy with what we're doing. Okay, thank you for listening to our presentation. Goodbye.
Thank you very much, Alia and Victor from Taylor's International School. So next we have Jennifer from North Zealand International School in Denmark. I am mindful that we are going over time, so thank you very much for staying with us. Jen's class actually returned back to school this week or last week, I believe. So she may have a class in the background. Jen, will you be able to join us?
Everyone, can you hear me?
Yes.
Here I am back to my class right now because we have indeed gone back to school, and I'm going to race through my slides so I can be out with the children. But please do go.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. It's
Thank
really
you very much. Sorry for the delay, but we just had so many wonderful things being shared.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm going to try to keep it really short and then go back and please do go back and read through the slides. So we have gone back now after lockdown, which means that we've gone from virtual digital learning to now trying to be outside as much as possible, which is our new recommendations and regulations, which also means that now we have pretty much no technology. So we are definitely practicing adaptability for sure. Next slide, please. And next slide. So very shortly, I just want to give you a little bit of an insight as to why we chose to do it this way. And I look forward to hopefully being able to hear from you. And please do reach out if you'd like to know a little bit more. Next slide, please. When we got the press conference, it was the evening of Wednesday, 11th of March, and schools were to be closed immediately the next day, with Monday as our first virtual learning day. We had just opened our third frame in our wonderful unit Imagine That with famous artists, and we wanted to continue this during our online learning journey. Next slide, please. There were definitely lots of things we had to consider. Consider our families not having enough devices, having multiple children at home. The rest of primary was going to do a lot of live sessions, so I knew that we couldn't. I'm also a mom. I have 2 children. I needed to support my eldest in primary while teaching from home, and I also have a 1-year-old in there, as you can see in the picture here, and I needed to find a way that would work for me and, of course, for our families. Our families don't have any printers at home. Libraries are closed. A lot of things to consider. And of course, how are we going to get them to share student learning? Because we hadn't set Tapestry up yet. And that was one of our big, big regrets, that we were so slow in getting this installed right now. Next slide, please. I asked my colleagues, I asked Google. I'm not super great with technology before this went down. And as you can see, at some point, I even tried using my running light to tape my phone to it to see if I could find a way to video my hands showing some of the art activities better. That was an epic fail, and I don't recommend it. I was able to go to school and collect a lot of materials and bring it home and set up a mini classroom at home for recording videos. But because a lot of our families couldn't use public transport too, and a lot of them do, living all the way in Copenhagen, in the busy city, we weren't able to send any materials home. So anything that we needed to give for advice for the children to do needed to be done either in small apartments, in big homes, maybe in little parks, and with limited resources as well. Next slide, please. We have a Firefly, which is our parent communication platform. We were able to put daily blogs out. We posted these the afternoon prior to the day, so that parents had the opportunity to go in and take the videos that we created and go to the separate blog with all the free student-led activities and ideas, and for them be able to make a plan for themselves the next day. So they could plan where they needed to be online themselves, where and how they could get their children to try to follow along some of our learning. Right now in Denmark, the age that children are required to follow learning is from 6 years old. So our families were not required to support any of the teaching. And this is also why not everyone followed along. As you can see, they got an idea of what are the activities that they could choose and what is it that the teachers have planned for them. And I'm going to just tell you a little bit more about the way we did the unit blocks, and they had a unit block every day. Next slide, please. So we mainly focused on our Explore and Express activities throughout the unit because we already opened 3 of the famous artists. What I would do very late at night is record myself opening the next art frame, sometimes multiple frames, to try to work a bit ahead. I used QuickTime Player on my laptop for this. I tried different whiteboard apps to do an explanation with a map with moving arrows of where Denmark is and where the artist comes from, a bit more background information about the artist and more artwork by this artist. Then my eldest daughter has been a lot in my videos, which she's been loving, recording her or myself doing various art activities, express activities, with keeping in mind that some of our families only have white paper and pencils at home, and how they could perhaps interpret some of this fantastic artwork in their own way with the resources that they had. lots of iMovie cutting and pasting, and then I've uploaded it onto YouTube, which I could put into our Firefly blog. Then I needed some feedback. And as I said, we didn't have Tapestry up and running yet. We're now in the process of trialing it. And we tried Padlet. And the students could go in, well, the parents could go in and post a photo of the children's artwork onto Padlet, a Padlet that we created for that week, just for the unit activities. And then they could go in and see each other's artwork and see their friends. And we could go in, the teacher and the learning assistant could go in and give feedback. I was also able to download Padlet as a PDF file, which was a tip I got from a colleague, which was really great, which meant that I could document all this wonderful learning that they did, the feedback that we did, and use it at the end of a week for a little art gallery file for the parents. Next slide, please. These are some of the examples. My YouTube channel is extremely full with all these videos. Please go in and have a look. Perhaps there's something you could use if you're going to be planning on doing the next unit. There are full lessons in there. I'm all up for sharing and using each other's resources, absolutely. Down there, a little picture of what one of the Padlets looked like with the students' different work. It was really beautiful to see how, with the limited resources that everyone had in their own home, because shops are closed and not all supermarkets close by have art materials either, how they were able to bring their very own touch to art, to the artwork by the artist there. And then as an exit point, we collaborated all the PDF files and did it as an online little virtual gallery. I think that was it. Next slide. Yes. YouTube link, email address. Please do reach out if you have any questions, or if you have any questions about what it's like to be back at school and how to do everything outdoors now. Thank you for listening. Bye.
Thank you very much, Jennifer, and thank you for taking the time out whilst you've got your class back with you. We really appreciate it. So next we have an opportunity for questions. And before we go to that, thank you very much to all our presenters for sharing your wonderful ideas and resources with us today. As I said, I'm mindful that we're running over time for this webinar, as our schools have so many lovely ideas to share. So we have quite a few questions, but we'll take one or two and ask some of our schools to address them. And the questions that we can't get to today, we will address directly with our attendees after the webinar. We'll also be sharing this presentation with you, so you can access the links and resources mentioned during the presentation. So one of the questions that we received was, one of the big challenges is supporting home learning when homes are not necessarily well resourced. We are in total lockdown and families can't get out, so we are trying to get the balance right with pre-recorded videos through a private Vimeo account. For the schools presenting, what percentage of their children do they feel are truly engaging with the online learning? I believe this could be a good question for the schools that are actually engaging using Tapestry and other resources to engage with their parents, and obviously talking to them about the resources, etc. they need and adapting the activities. So I'll open that up for any of the schools that are presenting to answer.
This is Victor from Taylor's. We use Tapestry, and we've had about 65% of our parents posting. I mean, we don't know if the other children are doing the work or not. We've done the face-to-face with parents as well, so we can try and see what's happening at home, if there's a reason why the children aren't joining with their phonics lessons, or why the parents aren't posting on Tapestry. We had one boy from Vietnam who's still in Vietnam, but he's joining the lessons and posting things as well. So it is a good way to find what's happening.
I'm Charlotte from the French International School. Some parents cannot support. Some parents are out of the country. On average, across 4 classes, the we have about 21 children engaging out of 24, but the parents that have not been in contact, we have actually reached out to them on numerous occasions. So we are in contact now with all parents. We've offered phone calls for parents. You know, we're very understanding of individual family circumstances, but we're very willing to support where we can. We also offer 3 differentiated activities that the children can engage in. And because we do the pre-recorded videos, if the children can't, for example, make their own, you know, volcano experiment or whatever it might be, they're watching us do it as well, so they're not missing out in on that learning.
Thank you very much, Charlotte. We've got one more question that I would like, if possible, Olga, if you could answer. So, because you've touched on this topic slightly before during your presentation, the question is: how are schools coping with the difference between home language and school's language of instruction? Ideas for supporting parents challenged with supporting home learning in a language in which they may not be confident?
Well, we have normally a person who's for the English as a second language, but that's only for primary and early years. We do it because we are doing all the activities with the children all the time there. The children that I have, they started in September with me, and they're quite confident with English. This boy who arrived now, what I've tried is, like, for example, today they had French lesson. I said, okay, imagine that this child, he doesn't know English, and then he gets a French lesson or video that the teacher had sent. So then I came and I got a translation. So I went to Google Translate, I copied it, I pasted, and then I sent it to the parents, and I said, do you think this, yes, to the parents. And then I said, if this is helpful, let me know. And if you can explain then to the parent, because the one parent knows English, the other one knows a little bit, but has more difficulty. So then there's that communication where I try to translate some things. And like when it was the videos and the one of the Gumpy, Mr. Gumpy, you might see, I try to get like these other, like there was this sound of the swirling sound and the wheels going around. So I took a YouTube video with trucks in the mud, very, very visual things that I could use. So as long as I'm talking about the calendar routine, which I do a pre-recorded version every single day, the boy right now, he's at home. The parents are very happy. It's been how many weeks been? 3 weeks first, and this is our 2nd week. And they say that the boys already start singing in English, and all because of the repetition of the routine. And if it's raining, I show pictures, I have these icons and I show it. So that is helping him. And the fact that we get together on Fridays it's like a show and tell, and they can show something they've done during the week or something, then the parents are always present. And the mom helps to translate, and he's starting already to say some words in English. So it's a lot of using as many visual clues, nonverbal communication, trying to go a lot of communication with the parents using Google Classroom and say, can you check if that translation is proper, because I don't know Japanese. So I don't know if I've answered the question, because I didn't get to understand all the questions that you said.
Thank you very much, Olga. I can see we do have a lot of other questions that are coming through, but again, we're very mindful of time because we're nearly going to hit our 2-hour mark for the webinar. So what we'll do is make note of all the questions that are coming through and address them directly with the attendees, if that's okay. We're going to move on to our final slide now. We have now come to the end of our pilot webinar. Thank you for taking the time out of your days to join us for this session. We hope it's been a good opportunity to gain some insights into how the Ieyc schools all over the world have been delivering the curriculum remotely. It's been really inspiring to see the unique ways in which schools have been supporting parents to continue their children's education at home and reinforcing the concept that the child's education is better treated as the holistic, non-linear journey that it is. and where the foundational role of the parent and the home are supported and empowered more than ever. If you would like to get in touch regarding this webinar or sign up for any future webinars we are hosting, we're hosting one this week regarding developing emotional resilience for students and staff. So that's definitely one that I think could address a lot of your questions in regards to supporting parents and staff and students during such a situation, such a time that we're in. We can find my contact details on the screen if you wish to get in touch with us about the Staying Connected 20 webinar page, and we also have the events listed on Eventbrite. We'll be introducing new webinar topics each week, so please do keep an eye on your inboxes for these newsletters. Sometimes they do end up in junk mail, so be sure to check those as well. And that's really all from us for today. Thank you very much once again for joining us, and the webinar will also be taking place again on the 12th of May. So for those people who were unable to attend today, or if you wish to share this with colleagues, please do let them know that this will be happening again on the 12th of May. Thank you very much once again to all our presenters. You've all been absolutely wonderful, and we look forward to doing this again with you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks to you.